Let's begin. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Podcast76. I'm Ruskeydoo.
And I am Grey.
And it's been a while. It's been so much content for so long, and we've actually got a bit of a lean week, which isn't a bad thing.
No, can I just chill, play the game, relax, enjoy ourselves?
Exactly, just, I guess that, the new season is happening, so, just see how it pans out and such.
Yeah, or maybe they're just dealing with all the rages.
Yes, because that is part of what we're talking about today. Anyway, what has happened this week? There's a Fair Play development update, there is a Junkertown preview, and there is a free weekend happening.
Freakend.
And that's about it. Freakend.
I've always called them that.
I can see why. It's a good amalgamation. Yeah, so first up, there has been a slightly different dev update about playing fairly in the game.
Yeah, so usually when you get a dev update, it's about a new feature or about a new map or about a new hero or, just something new that's coming to the game. And this was not that sort of video from Jeff.
This is just about toxicity in the game and what they're doing to counter it.
I think as much as anything, I think the video was mostly made so that people knew that it was kind of something that was being dealt with internally. And
yeah, because this video was actually made a while back, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think
they mentioned it a long time ago.
Yeah, 3-4 weeks. Because it was before Gamescom, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I think they wanted to release it coinciding with the reporting on console.
Yes, that would make a lot of sense.
So yeah, that's now out. I think that was out last week. And yeah, the dev update came out. So yeah, they talk about, Jeff talks about the feedback coming in emails for people.
Yep, so about 20,000 people have been in this kind of pilot program that they've done where when someone that they've reported has been banned or suspended or action has been taken against them, they get told, hey, one of those people you reported, we did something about that. So the kind of people feel good about that. And there was only a pilot program, so only 20,000 people were in it, but it's kind of going to be larger, I assume.
Yeah, I like the idea. I think it'll make the report function feel worthwhile to some extent.
Yes, I also think it's one of those things of more people will start reporting because if they feel like something's being done, then and overall just end up with better data of, hey, something is actually being done about these reports, so it's actually worth doing.
Yeah, I mean, the tricky one is, with borderline cases, but maybe borderline cases aren't too much of an issue.
Well, I assume as much as anything, you can just look at stats, right? If someone's got a whole bunch of reports piled up on them, it's much more likely that they're a repeat offender who they need to do something about.
Yeah.
Whereas if someone's got 5, you're just we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, exactly. They're kind of in the, we'll keep an eye on them.
As much as I think as you are a nice person, I bet you've been reported at least once.
Oh, I bet I get reported a load for calling out people being shitty to teammates. I can imagine people just doing that out of spite, right? Because that's how people work.
Absolutely.
One thing that was notably absent from this dev update video was talk about a kind of karma system where you reward people for doing nice things.
Yes.
Which, it's hard to do without gaming it, but...
Yeah, I think it's one of those things I think anything that can be gamed will be gamed, and I think they're just worried that what ends up happening is people just get toxic around the good stuff as well.
Yeah, which would be sad, right?
And also I can just imagine people getting really high and mighty about having all this karma.
Yeah, but then people, if someone was being a dick about having so much karma, then they'd lose a load of karma, right?
I suppose so.
One would hope. It depends how the system was. I mean, it's the whole thing. I can't imagine a system that wouldn't be open to abuse, And
it has to be a system that somehow decays over time. So, karma from 2 weeks back isn't as relevant today as it was then. It's something that you've got to keep being nice in order to maintain a high karma level.
Oh, like a karma graph or something.
Yeah, exactly. So, over time, you get better, you get worse. You say, I was clearly a shitty person that week. What did I do?
Okay, so more things they talk about in it is they're talking about getting that feedback instead of it being over email, getting into game so you get to know.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yep, because honestly, I wouldn't want my email inbox just filling up with guff.
Yes.
Big Dave was being a dick in a game and now he's banned. Sweet. And I'd be like, that's great. But, I've got 5 emails about Big Jeff, Big Dan, and Big Ian.
Why is everyone big?
I don't know. Nicknames on the internet. Yeah. Interesting thing that Jeff said was that instead of just giving people timeouts, they want toxic people just gone.
I think this makes a lot of sense. The reason I think it makes a lot of sense is I think that toxic people just staying in the game ends up meaning that people feel like there's not actually a really bad consequence for being shitty to other people.
Yeah. Well, right. In fact, a fascinating one that I saw on Reddit yesterday was this guy was in a game with someone who was just on Bastion throwing themselves off a cliff, and they wouldn't explain why they were Bastion or throwing themselves off a cliff. And then the person who was making the video, they got added by the Bastion after the game. They got a friend request, and they're like, okay. And it turns out that the Bastion was then really, really salty at this guy for playing McCree when this is a McCree main. And they were playing Bastion to, resent this guy who took their main. And the reason they hadn't said anything in game was because they'd been reported loads and got a chat ban. So that's not making the world a better place. Chat bans don't work, I don't think.
No, clearly these people find other ways to communicate their discomfort, their what's the word I'm looking for?
Shittiness.
Yeah, they find ways to be shitty. Shitty people be shitty.
Yeah. Then I felt the video takes a bit of a weird turn where Jeff starts talking about like the reason why people are shitty to each other on the internet and while driving cars is anonymity, and it's like, well, yes, obviously.
Yeah, well, I think it's a good analogy for people who haven't thought about it. Because people do get really, road rage is a known thing. Like, people know about road rage. And I think that people don't get that is that exact same response of, whilst I can kind of do some form of communication with you, it's not just you and me kind of sitting across from each other. And because and so people just get really, really angry over things which you don't really need to get angry about. So I think that for some people who haven't really considered it, maybe it's like a useful explanation for them. But for anyone who's thought about it, it's just like,
but yeah, I mean, there is no solution for that, unless you're going to, I don't know, force someone to have a talk with the person they were mean to on the internet, but that's clearly not ever going to happen.
You must write a letter of apology in which you state just how sorry you are.
Yeah. Oh, there was this wonderful one a while back where some lady who got some really abusive stuff from some, random person on the internet basically contacted the person's mum. Oh, yes. And the mum was like, my son said what to you? Yeah, that was some delicious karma right there.
I think there was a whole campaign by a woman who just contacted people's mothers when they were mean or said really sexist things to them, and they just talked to their mums, and their parents were always just outraged, just always.
Yeah. Maybe that's what the next Blizzard reporting system should do.
Just tell people's parents.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I can kind of see that having an effect.
Or, if someone says some really nasty stuff, it just posts it on their Facebook page. And let the backlash from just everyone they know going you said what to someone? Why would you do that? Yeah.
I worry
Obviously not.
Yep.
It'd be terrible.
Yeah. No. Anyway.
Jeff then talks a bit about community responsibility and how don't be shitty to people and you could try being positive to people. Madness.
Yeah, no one's going to do that.
No, totally not going to happen because internet and computer games. And then finally they kind of talk about how content isn't getting made because of this.
I mean, this bit does make a lot of sense, but basically if you have a certain amount of development, a certain amount of developers, and those developers can only work on one thing at a time, if you're pulling people to work on a better reporting system and a system that, makes sure that people are actually banned for doing bad stuff, that's going to take away dev time from other things, and it's going to slow down development.
Yep, specifically in this case, match history and replays have not been worked on in favour of rolling out reporting for console and such.
Yeah, that being said, I do have to say that it makes a lot of sense that they work on this first. Like, it seems like
it needs sorting, right?
Absolutely. I don't blame them.
An interesting bit in this was when they talked about some of the numbers, that, 480,000 people have had disciplinary action taken against them.
Yeah, and something like 390,000 of them were due to player action.
Yeah, now, here's the thing, though, right? So out of 30 million players, well, that's how many accounts we have. It's probably not many players. That's 1.6% of players.
Yeah, that's 1 in 100 people.
Yeah, but it's more than 1 in 100.
Oh, yeah, slightly more.
I mean, it's nearer 2 in the 100. 1 in 50, except it's not 1 in 50.
1 in 70.
Yeah, and like, if you think about like that, a load of those players are from Korean, gaming cafes. It's just how many accounts have been made, right?
Yep.
Oh, actually, we don't know how that actually is calculated, do we?
I have no idea.
But yeah, it's actually a surprisingly large percentage.
Yes and no. I kind of feel like that tallies with my experience.
Yeah.
So you got 12 people in the game, and once every 5 games, you get someone who's really shitty.
Yeah, that kind of adds up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'd want to run the stats on it, but I think that feels about right.
Yeah, it's just one of those things of just as a rough estimate, I think that's kind of about where I am. Yeah.
Yeah. All checks out. But yeah, if this does get sorted, it'll be wonderful. Like, I'd love it if,
Well, my concern is that I know that it's only 1.6% of the population, but the effect on the population is clearly huge. Like, that tiny minority is clearly having a huge effect because it's talked about so much at the moment in terms of what's relevant in Overwatch. It's one of the biggest topics at the moment.
You don't remember the 3 games you had which were fine, that you maybe won by a bit or you lost by a bit. You remember the game where someone was a raging asshole at you for no good reason, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I just think it's one of those things that I worry that even targeting that 1.6%, people just continuing to be unhappy will just forever affect the game negatively.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, that's just gaming in general, though, right? That's just people in general. There's not much
true.
that can be done about that.
I think Overwatch is much more exacerbated because of how much you have to work together. Yes. And if you don't work together, it clearly has an impact on the game.
Yeah, and in fact, what I've been seeing just an uncommon amount in recent games. I know this is just a couple of incidents, so it could just be variants. But I've seen people who have had their main time on healers, but they're just I really don't want to play a healer. I'm sick of healing.
Yeah, it's one of those things of basically if you're a flex, you end up playing support a lot. A lot. And if that's not what you're best at, it's just what you end up having to fill because otherwise no one will take the role. It does kind of get it just feels bad because you can't play the game that you want to play.
Yeah. You have to end up just going under other people's stuff.
It's one of those things of I do think playing a support doesn't feel as good as playing a DPS a lot of the time.
There was an interesting observation on this one, which was for DPSs, you get this really obvious feedback of the kill in the kill feed.
Yep.
Ding, you've done a thing. Here's your little cookie as a reward. And you don't get that as healers. You don't get a thing that pops up that shows everyone that the healer did the thing.
Absolutely. It's one of those things of it's just not... I mean, the only thing that you're shown at all is the mercy res because it's in the kill feed.
Yeah.
It does make it feel bad.
It's very hard to, make a meaningful thing. If you could have a thing where it's for every 1,000 health that you heal, you get a ding or whatever, but it doesn't mean anything. It's not useful.
No, it's... you'd have to start doing you'd have to do things like showing, hey, that person recently took this amount of damage, and by healing them, they would have gone to below zero with that next tick of damage.
Here's the problem about like giving that information though, which is the kill feed is actually useful. It shows who's up and who's down, and it's actually relevant to like furthering the winning of the game. If you show stats about how much healing a healer is doing, that's not relevant.
You don't show that to the rest of the team. You show it to the healers. You
right,
only show it to the healers.
Yeah,
it's so they get that cookie, that thing of, ding, you just did a thing that was really impactful in the game. Your healing just saved that person's life. It's the same thing as how most people don't know to hack Sombra's health packs, to hack health packs in Sombra. It's because you don't get that ding that tells you that you've done a good thing.
Yeah, maybe.
And without that, as a healer, it just makes it less satisfying to play. Which is why I think a lot of players end up playing something like Zenyatta, where you get...
Well, they just want a DPS, right?
They want a DPS. Yeah, you get to do the DPS as well as the healing. Or Anna. Anna does have a bit of feedback, which is you get this sound which is a lot more satisfying than the other heals.
Yeah. Well, also just like landing those, long range
snipes and
heals is like, it's kind of cool, right?
It's a lot more fun playing Anna than most of the other healers. That being said, she's a little bit out of the matter at the moment.
Yeah. So next thing, there's another video, and it's a preview of Junkertown.
Yeah, and it's one of those videos where they show you kind of like some of the behind the scenes
making of. I found this a bit weird, like that it's a preview of Junkertown for a map that I've been playing on the PTR.
Yeah, but you play on the PTR.
I guess most people don't.
Most people do not play on the PTR.
Yeah.
I think also if they've like recently experienced a dip in players, like having multiple things to say, hey, come back, there's something new, is probably wise. From just from a PR perspective.
Yeah, true. So in this, we have Michael Chu claiming that this level is the best thing ever. Now, I'm not the kind of person to pull up hyperbole when I see it. Oh, wait. I am the kind of person to pull up hyperbole when I see it. That's hyperbole.
Is it?
Well, it's clearly not the best thing ever, is it?
Well, no, it's not the best thing ever.
I don't
what
know
is
if Michael
the best
Chu's
thing
married or not, but,
That's fair. Junkertown, better than marriage.
Yep. They talk a bit more about the Queen, and like it seems like they're kind of pushing her as a character.
Mm-hmm.
I
think we're going to see her at some stage. She must be like in early stages of development, but they must like have a good feel for her. Because I think that once you've got a good feel for a character of this is what we want this character to be, and we've got these kind of couple of staple mechanics for them, you go, okay, this character is going to happen. It may not happen this week, this month, this year, but this character is going to happen. So we want to make sure that they kind of players know about this character. And I think that was kind of obvious.
Well, she was. So
I think that was kind of obvious from the short, actually, and the way that she was quite clearly an influential character, and they pushed this idea of the Queen.
Yeah. So I mean, in this, they kind of expand her background in that, like, she was a super charismatic battler in the Thunderdome.
Yes,
I mean, it's not the Thunderdome, but it is the Thunderdome.
It is the Thunderdome.
God, this is ripped off Mad Max so hard.
Really?
I mean, that's not news to anyone.
But obviously. It really is.
Yeah, like, it's okay taking inspiration from something, but this is just like, geez, guys, you have a combat zone with the Queen. This is Mad Max 3.
I haven't seen Mad Max 3.
Beyond Thunderdome?
No.
You need to. That's okay.
It's not good, but it's something I need to see.
Yeah, you need to watch it, and you're going to be like, oh my God, this is ripping off Overwatch, except it came first.
How did they know that they were going to do this in Overwatch later?
My God. It talks about the farm at the beginning, which is where Mako Rutledge comes from, which is, of course, Roadhog.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those make and level things. Oh, they have a whole Foley section.
Yeah, the Foley section was really cool. I was going to mention that, where they show you how they actually go out to locations, because I did assume that they just had a sound library that they purchased, but Blizzard actually go out on location, find stuff they think sounds cool, and records those cool sounds, and then puts them into the game.
Yeah, obviously.
Well, yeah, I just thought they had a sound library, because so many people do have sound libraries. There are technicians who go out and record specific things, and will, like, record all these cool sounds and then sell them. But but Blizzard had their own team that does that just for Blizzard, which is cool.
Well, I mean, when you say they have a team that does that, it's their sound guys who take some microphones out to a place. Like, that's not an expensive thing to do.
I guess not. But I still think it's cool. I liked it.
Neat. I think it's super neat. Like, recording sounds and stuff like that is, yeah. Yep. That's about it.
It's out 19th of September.
Yeah, cool. And presumably it won't be going straight into comp.
No, I don't think so.
I don't know when it'll be going into comp, but, you know. There was one thing about this that stuck in my mind, which was like that although they're trying to make it like all post-apocalyptic and desolate, they still kind of wanted to make it much more kind of homey in a way. Like, I think one thing Michael Chi said was, you know, that the restaurants are meant to be like things that you like, and yeah.
Yeah, well, I think that the Overwatch team are trying to have a very positive view of the world and the future, so that even like when bad stuff has happened, like people make a home for themselves. Like, I think that's just like part of the DNA of Overwatch at this stage. Like, it all ends happily ever after in the end.
Oh, there was one thing that is worth mentioning in this video. If you skip to 4 minutes 25, you can see a dude working on a desk, and there is what appears to be a posable Bastion figurine on the desk.
I did not notice this, because I was not paying enough attention, clearly. 425, you say? That is quite clearly a posable Bastion.
Yeah, and what's interesting is it doesn't look like it's been 3D printed. It doesn't have the striations on it. It looks like that's been molded.
That looks really good.
Yeah, it looks proper quality, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks really nice.
So I was intrigued by such things.
He also has a hammer on his desk. Kind of a war hammer.
It's Doomhammer.
Oh, is that Doomhammer?
I presume so. For Doomhammer.
I thought it was just some sort of war hammer. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Looks good.
So that's the thing.
Yep. Don't look too carefully, because there is a dirty keyboard in the video somewhere.
Oh god, yeah, no, there's like, it shows like the left-hand shift key, and it's just like,
It's disgusting.
Oh god, wash that.
Just every like couple of months, it doesn't need to be that often, but every couple of months, just take all the keycaps out, get a hoover out your keyboard, because it is disgusting in there. If you've got some alcohol wipes, even better. Just really get in there, get rid of all the crap.
Here's my pro tip: just get your phone out, take a picture of your keyboard before you take the keys off, though.
Oh, so that you can kind of so that you put it all back.
Well, I don't know which order the page up, page down, home, end, insert, and delete keys go in.
You got I forget. I've got a 10 keyless keyboard. I've got a tiny one, so I just know everything goes.
Oh, like one of those super dinky ones that only really has the extra stuff on it. Okay.
Yeah, because otherwise, like, I end up ramming my hand into my keyboard.
What?
It's because, like, I don't understand how people don't ram their hands into their keyboard. I don't know.
What do you mean?
Because the keyboard's so large.
To use a keyboard, you kind of have to ram your hand into the keyboard, because otherwise...
No, your mouse hand whilst playing games.
Oh, right. You see, you didn't say that. That makes a lot more sense.
I prefer it my way. But yeah...
I was just like wondering how you're mashing your hand into the wrong part of the keyboard. I'm like, what?
I guess. What? Are you just using your nose? No. When I play games, if I've got a keyboard that's too large, I end up just like mashing my right hand into the keyboard whilst I'm playing games. And
surely you could just move your keyboard a bit to the left?
I could, but it becomes uncomfortable for my left hand then.
Ah, yeah. Okay. I see the problem.
Yeah.
So yeah, Junkertown. Lastly, there is a free weekend happening. Wait, I think it's 22nd to 25th of September? Yeah. This is on PC, PlayStation, and Xbox One. So if you have any friends who don't play Overwatch and you want to say, hey, I do this thing a bit too much because I'm the kind of person that listens to Overwatch podcasts, which means I probably play an awful lot of Overwatch, then this is the way to get your friends hooked.
Is that a 3D rendering of Hanzo? On the page, on the
No, that's not a 3D rendering. That's actually Hanzo.
that's actually Hanzo.
Yeah.
I was just wondering if they'd done a model, but then I realised the tattoo's just way too clean.
Of course, it's a 3D
I just like the idea of them doing, because it would look really good as a model.
that pose.
Probably, yeah, the entire thing.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Why not?
I don't know if that's how you'd actually shoot the bow, but I don't know anything about archery, so I shouldn't say anything about it.
So, what's weird about that is that the arrow isn't in line with his arm.
Oh, yes, with his shooting arm, right?
Yeah,
With
like
the draw arm.
Yeah, there's a big old angle there, which is a little odd.
Yeah.
But I mean, his bow's really weird because it has this weird handle on it, and I don't know.
I've got no idea.
No. Yeah. So anyway, that's all the things that have happened in Overwatch this week.
Sweet. Do you want to go play?
Yeah, I really do.
Oh, awesome. Okay, I've been Grey.
I've been Ruskeydoo.
See you next week.
Goodbye.